This is Jeff from American Jetset, and you're listening to the Brutally Delicious Podcast.
1, 2, 3, 4. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast.
Nice. We could just jump right in if you want. Firestarter, I guess, is out since the end of October. What's been the response? What's been the response to it so far?
Pretty good. You know, we put it out the same time as another song, Hell's Out to Get Ya. And that one got a little more attention. And then we put out a Christmas song at the same time. So Firestarter didn't really start taking off until January. And it's been doing great since then. And Ian's here.
Ian is here.
Bruce, hey, how you doing?
Hey, good. How are you? We started without you, but
Hey, that's how they do it.
This show is out of Richmond. He's out of Richmond.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. Awesome.
Yeah.
I just drove to Richmond the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, right off of the 295 interchange.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Nice.
I got family in the West End.
Oh, nice. So anyway, we were talking about the record. Single response, right?
Mm-hmm.
The record, I'm sorry.
We were talking about the response to Firestarter.
Oh, yeah, man. It's been really, really good. In fact, the video just blew up. I mean, it has about 33,000 plays at this point. And we haven't even played it live once.
Really?
We recorded it and released it right before the end of the year. So we only had a handful of shows going into the new year. And so we're definitely gonna have to pull it out of the bag and get it on stage here soon.
Yeah.
Okay. I know Jeff mentioned the Christmas song, the Sleigh Bells. What was the thought process behind releasing that, and how did that go over?
Well, Jeff had been goading me into writing a Christmas song for a while, and I know this because he would softly mention that he wanted to start covering, like, Last Christmas by Wham and stuff. And
Right.
and that's when I know he really wants to do something that's not that. So anyway, I ended up writing the song and demoing it and brought it to the guys. They were like, yeah, let's do it. And we ended up recording it. It's like one of my favorite songs that we did last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It did well when we released it too. Of course, it was right. We released it right around the holidays. So
Yeah.
got a lot.
Ian knows if I start being like, yeah, we really got to play a Wham song, man. We got to do it. He's going to go and write a song so we don't have to do it. And
Right.
yeah, I figured him out, at least that part of it.
Yeah, he got me. He was on this Philip Bailey kick for like, I don't know, a solid year.
Easy Lover. It would be a great song.
exactly.
So according to my notes, Devil versus Angel, 5th album. We have a release date yet, or we know what's going on with that?
May 23rd, which is my birthday, coincidentally. Not that was in our plans, but
Happy 23rd. Happy 23rd birthday.
that's right. Yeah. Yeah. So we decided to put it out in May. We were hoping to put it out a little earlier, but and I say we hope to put it out a little earlier because I'm constantly pushing to get the next thing out. And the guys are like, do we have to do another record right now? No, I'm just joking. But
That's the next one too.
so yeah, when we started putting the songs together, and once the thing starts going, and, it's like a ball rolling downhill. We had the studio time booked, then we started putting together the campaign plan, then we started putting together everything, and then all of a sudden there's a release date and we're heading right toward it. You know what I mean?
Hey, Kevin, welcome.
Hey, sorry, I was in a little trouble getting in there.
No, that's okay. Every time I have a new question, somebody else joins in, so we're good.
I hope you don't have any more questions because
I'm running out.
I may not have very good answers, or at least not to the question.
Bring in the horn section.
yes.
That's right.
If you guys are located all in the same area, then is there a chance you guys are all writing together, or are you still emailing stuff back and forth?
We do write when we're in the room. We bang out riffs and stuff like that. But we do it like we kind of work on everything. So I'll sometimes demo whole songs. Skins will demo stuff and send me like just riffs and stuff, or we'll bash out a riff or two, in the studio together. But it's everything, and I think COVID kind of had its way with us, where for a long time we were writing in the room together. Everything was written in the room. And then with COVID, it just sort of necessitated new thinking. And so that's when we started demoing things on our own and doing different stuff.
So let me ask you a
It
question
used to
then.
be whoever was taking a break or feeding the meter, they'd come back and there'd be a song.
That's true. Yeah.
So let me ask you a question then. A lot of people are doing that. Probably the majority of people are doing that now. But do you think, and I don't know how to phrase this, not being insulting at all, but do you think there's a difference, or I mean, obviously there's a difference, but do you think it's a detriment doing it that way as opposed to being in the room where the song takes on a life of its own and moves and breathes rather than sending stuff back and forth by email? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know that it's a detriment. I think it's just different, right? Like there are some songs that are just live, right? And you feel it live and you play it live. And sometimes that doesn't work well in the studio. But then other songs are just production brilliance, but yet don't translate it into a live song, which by the way, we have several of those. We have some songs that we recorded on our album, Cat's Got Your Tongue, that we have never played. Well, maybe we played them all, but there are some we just don't play live regularly because they're not live songs; they're studio songs,
and they're hard to play.
So I guess it's just different. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Right.
I think that when we did right before COVID, we put out an album called Saloon Rock Whiskey Pop, and I'm pretty sure that record, most of it was written with all of us in one room. And Ian would bring a riff in, and we'd go off of that, but pretty much everything else, Ian will write it, demo it, bring it to us, and then we'll add to it. The only difference this go around is Skins is sending him riffs, and then he'll write a song around those riffs. But I mean, Ian's a complete songwriter. Right. He gets an idea in his head. He can go in the studio, record the drums, the bass, the guitars, the leads, the keyboards, everything, and then we can have fun with it from there.
To a point. I mean, that's the whole brilliance about this band, because once we get into the studio, yes, the demos can sometimes sound like the final product, but there's just nothing like the other people that are playing with you. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I mean,
yeah, absolutely.
Hear the difference between my guitar playing and Skin's guitar playing is like, it's like a whole other world. He's like an alien out there compared to
right. So are you writing the songs with the stage in mind then, like how it's going to come across in the live setting? Or are you writing a song for the song's sake and then worrying about live later? I
always write for the song, but in production, because I've been a producer for most of my adult life, what I focus on is, number one thing I focus on is the listenability to the production, because to me it's more important. Some songs though just translate live in a different way. So we have some songs like Black Hearts and Bloody Bruises, which is on our last record, where we alter some of the stops and drops and all that sort of thing, because it just sounds different than the production does on the record, right? Or it needs to, rather. But no, I write for the song first, then I write for the way someone's going to perceive it on the other end, and then we work around those things live to make sure that we get the best version of that live.
Okay. Are you planning on taking this out on the road?
The new record?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, this year is going to be a much bigger year for us than last year. We have our irons in the fire for touring. Last year we had an unfortunate situation with our European tour that didn't happen. This year we might be going trying to do that again. But this year should be a much bigger year than last year, even though we did tons of dates last year too.
Right. Touring's hard these days, right? I mean, it was hard always, but now it's even more difficult, right? With the price of fuel and people, I've read people taking cuts of merch along the way, and there's not much left for the artist on the road, right?
Yeah, and half of us, you you got to think about, what you're doing for your day job too, if you have one. You got to take all those things into consideration. In the 90s, when I was a line cook, I could quit and go on tour for 4, 5, 6 months at a time, come back and have my job waiting for me. Right now, a couple of us own our own companies. A couple of us are working day gigs. A couple, we're teaching. We got all kinds of things going on. So everything needs to really line up and make sense. And that's why we've been doing these flyover dates and things like that to get the most bang out of our buck if we're going to be flying out there. A lot of times when you're in the middle of the country, maybe places people haven't heard of you, and it's a Tuesday night, and you're, playing a bar that capacity is 23,
Right.
so it really depends. So we're trying to go the smart way for everybody. We want to put on good shows for as many people as we can in as many places. And I hope we get out to some more places this year. I mean, outside of, up and down the East Coast and a little bit out into Virginia and California, that's pretty much been it so far.
Right. So I assume though that what you're saying is you kind of have to just make sense, or the dates have to make sense, right? You're not just going to randomly go on
No, we were not.
and stop in those places like you're talking about. They have to make sense, right?
Yeah, we had a booking. We have had booking agencies where they've said, "Well, we can do this leg." It just doesn't make any sense at all, in terms of the type of show. That's the other thing too, is it's not so much even about where it is. Is it the right venue even, right? Because the kind of music that we play is this very specific type of thing. Like if the stage is like this tiny bar thing over in the corner while everybody's playing pool, that just isn't going to work for a band like ours.
Right.
It's got to be a very visual experience. We do a lot with our lighting and a lot with the show.
The big screens and
Yeah,
everything.
exactly.
It's it's the production.
It's got to work and make sense that way too.
Yeah. It's a whole different ballgame than it was a long time ago. Hey, let me go back to talking about the writing of the new record then. Is there something you want your fans to walk away from after listening to one of your records or the new one coming up, Devil versus Angel?
I mean, man, I love it when we get notes. I was in a band for about 10 years that was signed and played all over and did everything. And I still have emails from people where they wrote and said, "Hey, this song got me through this thing when my dad had cancer." And those kind of things, I live for that stuff, because not that I'm waiting for it, but when it comes in and it's so genuine, that's what I'm hoping is that in some way we can kind of touch somebody with something that we're doing, and that it's meaningful to them, even if it's just them listening and, singing at the top of their lungs. I mean, that's the kind of stuff I live for.
Do you feel any sort of responsibility in that sense then to write lyrics that will connect, or is that just a bonus at the end?
No, I mean, I don't feel a responsibility to, but I also don't write frivolous. I try not to write frivolous nonsense either. It's always something that's meaningful to me in some way or the other. Like there's a song on the new record that's just me and piano singing about. I mean, it's kind of a downer song. It's about not knowing how much time you're going to have and making sure you tell people you love them before you go. And it's literally me saying goodbye to like my kids and my dad and my mom. I mean, it's a sad song, but it means something to me. And as I was approaching the writing, I took names out of the song and I used I used indicators, but I'm hoping that like helps people see themselves in it. But that's as much of a responsibility as I ever feel about writing.
Okay, fair enough.
Another thing about this record too is that when we put out the EP last year, Love Kills, it was really dark. It was about bondage and all this kind of stuff. It was a dark record. And Hell's Out to Get You and Firestarter came out later in the year, really dark. Late last year, we were sitting backstage at the Whiskey, and Ian, like out of nowhere, just goes, "You know what? When we get home from this trip, I'm going to go home and write an album entirely in major keys, and it's going to be a summer record, and that's what we're going to do. It's going to be completely And we were like, okay, yeah, sure. And then like 3 weeks later, he sends us a Dropbox link. Here's the whole album, and he had demoed the whole thing.
It wasn't quite 3 weeks, but okay.
Not much more, but so it's a different approach. It's all about the timing, when with Ian and when he has a concept behind his music. When we put out the record about bondage, we released it on Valentine's Day. This is going to be that summer record. It's going to come out in, late May. So, there's always some kind of idea when he's going to release something and he brings it to us after he writes it. There's always the date. There's always a reason for the date every time.
Okay. So you just mentioned the Whiskey. What's it like playing those hallowed halls and being on that, I guess, legendary stage?
Skins, you want to take that one?
I mean, What can I add to that? What you just said? It's a legendary place. Playing on that stage, standing in the same spot that Eddie Van Halen and Mick Mars and countless
Everyone.
others. It's unbelievable. The first time I did a gig with them out there, I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I was so nervous. And, now it's just kind of routine, not routine. It's still special every time, but I'm not freaking out as much as I was the first time.
Right. That was what I was getting at. It was intimidating though at first, huh?
Yeah, it's intimidating, and it's for everybody. I remember we played there maybe it was last year, and I was sitting there talking to a group of the bouncers, and some of these guys have been there for 20 years. And the one guy was like, I was like, do people really get that nervous playing the stage? He's like, let me tell you a story. He goes, when Slipknot first played here, Joey Jordison was so terrified to get on the Whiskey A Go-Go stage that he had to be carried from the dressing room onto the stage because he was so nervous to play that venue.
Wow.
And when I was told that, I was like, damn. And we were getting ready to play there for like the 9th or 10th time. And I was just like, that's why it means so much to me. I just love playing that venue. And it doesn't hurt that every single time we played there, it's been a great show. I mean, that doesn't hurt. I mean, nobody wants to play at the Whiskey in front of 5 people.
So let me ask you a question then. Is a show for you a show? So if you play to 5 people, like you just mentioned, or a packed Whiskey A Go-Go, the energy is different, but do you guys still consider it? I mean, it's all in. It's a show for those 5 people that have paid.
We put on the same show.
Yeah, put same show.
Yeah.
We played a show during COVID that was we were asked to play a private show with Kix out here in our hometown, and it was for a wedding reception at this very large venue. And because of COVID, they had I think they had 50 people in the whole place.
49. The rule was it couldn't be 50 or over. They were
Right,
49 people.
So, we played in this room that for 800 seater to 50 people, and everybody spread out every 10 feet. And it was the craziest thing. But, we went full blown hardcore stage show. And so did Kix. I mean, it was just a different vibe because there wasn't the bodies in the room to kind of absorb the sound. There wasn't the applause afterward, but it's the same for me every time.
Yeah, and they also had to be at 2 top tables, and they couldn't get up from the table unless they were going to the bathroom.
Yeah, they
couldn't stand and dance. They had to be at the tables. It was strange.
Plus, you weren't interacting as a musician either, right? You came down from the side, you went up the stage, you played, you left, you went up in the back in the balcony or the green room. It wasn't quite the meet and greets after or anything like that.
Yeah, you weren't at the merch table.
You weren't at the merch table signing anything.
Yeah. But yeah, it was the same show.
Yeah.
So what's next for you guys then? Are you planning on doing the single every 6 weeks leading up to the record, or are you just going to do the record, just drop and then go from there? Or how's it work?
The record and the video are going to drop the same day. And we've never done this before. Everything before has been sort of the drip that you're talking about, and that's worked for us in the past. But this one, we wanted to make everything different about it. The video that we have is this really cool concept that's fun. The record itself is just going to be a fun record to listen to. It's way more, if the other material we did was more Motley, Rat, Dokken, whatever, this is definitely more on the Cheap Trick, Poison, Enough's Enough side of the fence, and it's just fun. I mean, I don't know what the other guys would say about it, but I listen to it daily, kind of just getting my head into even in the studio, even though we're a couple months out.
Yeah,
and
except for that ballad you mentioned, that's no fun.
No, that is no fun at all. I literally was in tears recording that demo.
Yeah,
that's not a joke.
Right.
I wrote that song and I was in my studio. And I came out of the studio, my wife was like, what is going on in there? And because after I wrote it and I was recording it, it just, every visual of what I was singing about, and it's not that long, but just as soon as you reference your mom or your kids or whatever, everything just hits you at once. And it was hard to record it.
I haven't heard the end yet. I've only made it about a minute into the song and I turned it.
Only like a minute and a half, dude.
It's a hard one.
I'm glad I don't have to play sax on that one. I wouldn't make it.
Don't have to do a lead on that one, Ian, because I don't want to have to do it in the studio.
It's just going to be me and a piano. Literally, I don't even want any effects behind it. Sorry, Bruce. We're just talking.
No. That's great.
We're
But
producing.
I love this record because it's fun. Like everything else, I love too. But everything's sort of like you're having a next kid. It's going to have a different personality. This record has an entirely different personality, which I love about it.
I think records have to have. I'm having trouble talking. I've been talking all day, but records that come out after each other have to have a different personality, right? Because you want to keep your fan base, but you can't rewrite the same record or the same song. It has to show some sort of growth or improvement or difference.
That's interesting because I don't think progress is always the answer. I think alternative vision of what you do can also be that change, right? I don't think anything technically is going to change about what we do ever, maybe with the exception of how we approach our studio recording or whatever. But I love that. But I also love that we can tell totally different stories and tell totally different in totally different soundscapes if we wanted to.
I mean, there was a period of time where the music that I listened to, it would change every record. You look at the difference between Cinderella's Night Songs and Long Cold Winter. I mean, they turned from a glam band into like a blues rock band, or the difference between Shout at the Devil and Theater of Pain. They came out a year and a half apart, and the covers alone, like everything, and I think that that's great. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to putting out the next record about bondage, after this one.
So am I.
So it's about getting the thing on. It's not like we want to move into a direction that's all like fun beach time party songs.
Right.
It's just that's what we're feeling right now. We're going to do it, and hopefully it mixes in with our live set well, and then we'll keep rolling from there.
Yeah, but it all still sounds like us. Like,
Oh, absolutely, 100%, man.
It still sounds like American Jetset.
You will not hear any of this music and not think that it doesn't belong in our catalog. I mean, we already have songs like we're doing in this record. Tokyo Radio from Cat's Got Your Tongue is similar in vein to what we're doing here, but this is definitely more light. It's lighter for sure.
Right. So my last question then, between now and the record release, what do you got going on?
Oh man, tons of planning and doing. Like for instance, right now we're all rehearsing leading up to the recording sessions. Mm-hmm. We're doing interviews right now for Firestarter bleeding into this record, which we're kind of using as a springboard for press around the record too. Then Kevin and I are also working with the director to organize the animatics and all the other things that go along with the video production. And then we're in the studio for half a month. Right. Doing the video for half a month, and then we're back on the road with 69 Eyes in late April. Then we're doing, we're rolling right along at that point.
Yeah. Right. I think all of April we're in the studio or shooting the video the whole month. Right. And like you said, and then before the record comes out, we're part of the M3 pre-party, the M pre-party. We're doing that. We're going out to we're playing with Trickster in Baltimore. Playing with 69 Eyes, Virginia, and then we're back out in Hollywood with Pretty Boy Floyd and DeMalls at the very beginning of June. The record will be ready for that, though.
Right.
Amen, brother.
Mm-hmm. So, lastly, if fans want to find you guys, can you give us your socials and however they can contact you?
First thing is AmericanJetset.com. Everything we have is up there. Facebook.com/American Jetset. And then everywhere else, just look for American Jetset. But those are the two big ones.
And we currently have an Indiegogo campaign where you can pre-order our record already. You can get all kinds of perks. There's drum heads and custom Jet Set guitars that are signed.
Which someone just bought.
Yeah, someone just bought one of those. And we're doing a private waterfront party in May. So it's just a way to get these funds rolling for this record because it's big. We're doing vinyl, cassette, CD, and to shoot the video. So that's, I think, right on the front page of our website, right? The Indiegogo information. Yep. So all right.
Excellent. So hopefully we cross paths with you guys because you're really just like 90 minutes up the road. Yeah. Any plans coming down here at all yet?
We'd love to.
We actually had a show booked in Richmond that got canceled at some point. I don't even remember why. It goes back, good Lord, a year ago, probably.
Was it? Yeah.
But yeah, we'd love to get down there. I have family, I have friends. We have tons of fans down there. So
Post-COVID, shows have been pretty crappy here. It didn't come
really,
like it did everywhere else.
that's weird because up here in this area, even in LA, there's
Competitive.
such a competition to book venues. It's insane.
Yeah, I've been waiting for that. It hasn't really materialized.
Yeah, I've heard about that even in other scenes. Like I heard, like even in the goth scene, like Richmond is that spot where they get there and there's just not a lot going on, and then they get to the next city and the shows are great. So I don't know. I don't know what it is.
And I've been to those shows recently where there's been 3 people on a Tuesday night.
Ooh,
Yeah, it's horrible.
we're gonna likely have one of those.
Because I talk to people all day long doing this stuff, and I know like how much effort it was to get there, and how much time and prep and everything, and then 3 people. It's pretty bad.
We had a couple of those, but I got to say, one of the ones that we did, even though there was really nobody there, I had a blast. I mean,
That's good.
you can still have a fun night, even though.
Oh yeah. It just sucks, even from a fan standpoint. It was like, man, I wish there was some support, something.
When you lose your shirt financially. And
Well, that's the thing. Like who I feel for, whether or not it's self-inflicted or not, are the bands that like go to LA, they don't have a fan base, and then they end up, doing a buy-in to Whiskey or someplace on a Wednesday. You know what I mean? And then they're going on at 8:30, and there is literally nobody there. I mean, if you've ever been there before, there's just nobody it's going to ever be walking through the door other than the bar staff at that point.
They haven't even opened the upstairs bar yet. Like it's like people are still mopping the floors in the back.
Right.
But I feel bad for those guys because we know a lot of them.
I was going to say that was that last time in LA. We were texting Josh and we are like, "Hey, when you go on?" And he's like 6:30. So we roll up at 6:30, and he's like coming off stage.
yeah,
We were like, "What happened?"
Yeah.
Right. Well, that's all I've got, guys. I appreciate you taking the time.
No, thank you, man. It was great to meet you.
Thanks for having us, man. We hope to see you down in Richmond.
Yeah, hopefully, or maybe I'll get up that way sometime soon.
Oh, amen. That's it.
All right. Be well.
All right.
All right,
Thanks.
thank you.
All right, bye.